right, now I'm joined by the boss over at One Championship, which is making its American debut on Cinco de Mayo, May 5th. Chatri, how's it going, pal?
Good. How you doing, Chael? Thanks for having me, man.
Well, I'm really happy to talk to you. I come on here every day, Chatri, and I make guesses, I make predictions. I think of myself as an historian and maybe even an expert within the sport. But the truth is, there's only 3 decision makers in this whole business, and you're one of them. Help me out with something. I fear that Francis Ngannou might have made a bad decision. I know that there's a lot of rumors where he's going to get signed. Do you see an opportunity for Francis in the open market?
Yeah, I think, Francis obviously has the credentials, he has the goods, and he brings the excitement factor with his big monster KO power. I think there's going to be big news on him shortly, and I think there's going to be, whether it's boxing or MMA, the world is his oyster.
That was very interesting how you put that. Now, let me ask you this. I know that One Championship, you will do grappling, you will do MMA. I see lots of Muay Thai. Would you do boxing? Would you put a boxing fight on at one of your events within the cage? Has that been considered?
Yeah, definitely. We have had a WBC world title fight in boxing before and won. We had it in 2017 with the then WBC world champion Srisaket from Thailand. We actually held it here in Bangkok, Thailand.
All right, looking forward, May 5th, right around the corner. Demetrious, which many North American fans believe to be the greatest of all time. I happen to be in that category, but he's in a true trilogy with Moraes, meaning they're going to fight 3 and they split the first 2. When you're promoting in America, is it a different feel? Is it a different strategy than when you're purely in Asia?
I think we'll find out when we're on ground in the States. I mean, the formula that we've always used at One here, and this trilogy, by the way, will sell itself. How many times do you have a trilogy where both fighters landed a flying knee knockout of each other? And I guess the third one has got to be a double knee knockout or something. I mean, that's the only way you're going to top it. But this trilogy is very, very intriguing because these are 2 of the very best on the planet. As you said, DJ is a GOAT, but Adriano knocked him out cold. And DJ's first ever knockout, getting knocked out ever. And then DJ comes back and does the same thing to Adriano. But what makes this very also interesting, and this is how we sell it in Asia, is if you look at the life stories, the backstories of Adriano and DJ, these are the 2 nicest gentlemen you would ever meet. This is somebody you would take home to your parents and your grandparents, and they would love them. Adriano was an orphan. He was abandoned on the streets of Brazil. Somebody picked him up, put him in an orphanage, and 3 years later, he was adopted by a single mother. What a crazy story. Adriano is of African Brazilian descent, whereas his mother is Caucasian. And it's just an incredible love story. And Adriano's been able to literally become a world champion. On the flip side, you have DJ, same thing, unbelievable life story where single mother, deaf mother, and then DJ was a factory worker. Unbelievable life story to become a world champion. And then now DJ has won the 2 most prestigious titles on both sides of the planet. No other athlete's done that. So this trilogy is unbelievable. And there's one last layer, Chael. It might be DJ's very last fight. DJ is already talking about retirement, and this is a big shocker, even a shocker to me. He was on Ariel yesterday or the day before and saying that this could be his last fight.
Okay, so I was going to ask you about that because that caught me off guard. Now, in all fairness, it's really hard. Like, I'll always try to follow the golden rule, Chatri. I put myself in somebody else's shoes, and I think of how I would react. But it's very difficult. I'd never had the level of success of DJ. It's very hard to put myself in the shoes of a champion who's achieved everything, who's been the GOAT, who's been the top, who's set the record in North America and now over in One Championship. So when he says that, I got to tell you, Demetrious does not have a history of saying things for attention. He doesn't have a history of setting something like that down on Ariel's show just so that we all come to his side. I think, and I interpret it 2 ways. First off, perhaps it will be his last fight, which would be a big shocker for me. But secondly, I also interpret that he is saying, I'm all in. Everything I've got, I've burnt my boats. I am all in. He wants this trilogy. That's what I think.
1,000%. He's not going to let his legacy get ruined here. And one thing that does scare me though, Chael, when a fighter starts talking about retirement, just talking about it, there's something that happens. And for whatever reason, it's like a jinx. It's a curse. So the question now is, Are American fans going to see the very last fight of DJ in his life? And has he jinxed himself by saying this could be his last and he's going to retire? I don't know. Whenever a fighter talks about retirement, I always think about, man, the killer instinct's gone, or man, they're jinxing themselves, or they're giving a little bit of mental edge to their opponent, whatever it is. But it's not good to talk about a retirement when you're facing a guy who flying knee KO'd you a couple fights ago.
Yeah. And I see it the same way, right? I mean, there's so much to your approach. And if you start approaching something different than you did before, perhaps it's going to be a different performance than before. So when Demetrious said that, it did really stand out for me. Now, I want to ask you a question. You're an expert in martial arts, and you really love stand-up fighting. When you look at a guy like Rotang, where would he compare to, say, some of our Western strikers? Let me throw out like a De La Hoya, a Floyd Mayweather.
I mean, under what rule set? I mean, De La Hoya and Floyd, are obviously boxers, and it's a very restricted rule set. Obviously, if it was pure striking, anything goes, obviously Rotang would annihilate both of them because he has elbows, he has knees, he has kicks, he has head kicks, he has leg kicks, everything. But he is an elite, world-class, world championship striker. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. If you go anywhere across Asia and say Rotang, actually now even in America, Rotang, it's like calling the Grim Reaper. He's gonna come to your house and take your soul. This is Rotang, and American fans, when they see Rotang, they're gonna see a whole nother level.
And Chatri, when this final chapter is written, when everything is said and done, I believe that you will go down as the great savior to grappling. I believe grappling be very entertaining. I grew up as a grappler. One thing about it is every time you see an event, you see some different rule set that's very hard to understand. When I heard that one was doing this, and that if it went the distance, what they're going to look for is who tried to finish the match more, I got it. It was simple. I understood it. I feel like the world's doing that, and I feel like your athletes are nonstop because of that clause. They're nonstop looking for action. When I look at the Rotolo brothers, when I look at Mikey, I haven't seen more action-packed matches, and I followed all the Abu Dhabis. I followed all the submission undergrounds. One championship is bringing out the best in these guys and giving them an opportunity. I just want to thank you for that, man.
Hey, man, I'm a grappler too, Chael. 16 years of jiu-jitsu. So I absolutely love it. But here's the thing. We have a 70% finish rate at one across all our different martial arts. And obviously, this compares to 30, 40% in the other two big global organizations. Why is it 70%? It's because of our incentive structure, but also because we sign finishers. When we sign an athlete, we don't sign a lay and pray guy. We sign people who come to finish. So whether it's Rotolo brothers or Mikey Musumeci, in the grappling division, whether it's Rotang in striking or Super Bon or Chingiz Alasov in the striking division, the very, very best of the best KO strikers, or whether it's mixed martial arts like DJ. DJ does not come to lay and pray. He comes to finish opponents, whether he's going to, suplex to flying armbar you, or whether he's going to, do some fantastic, crazy, DJ stuff. Same thing with Adriano, comes with a flying knee. So that's the thing that makes us different from any organization on the planet. And that's why I'm so excited for American fans to see. You're going to see action, finish rates you've never seen before. And just people, it's going to be a barn burner fight every single fight. Another fight I want to tell you that you got to watch, Chael, Roberto Soldic versus Sebastian Kadestam. 2 KO strikers. These guys bang, and they hit very, very hard. If you look at Roberto's finish rate, okay, I think he's a 90% KO rate, something like that. Crazy.
Wow, and let me ask you about Sage Northcutt. He's coming back. It's been 4 years off. He had the face, but he was a young guy. He was a young guy when he left. He's still a young guy. But how does his approach seem? How does his attitude seem? Have you got to see in a training? Where do you believe that Sage is at in his career?
So I love Sage. Always been a big fan of Sage. He had just tremendously bad luck in his first fight in one, getting his face fractured. There was at one point where he retired. He actually called me and said, "Chatri, I'm done." But 2 years later, he's like, "Chatri, I want back in. I'm ready to go." And everything I've heard, in the training room, how he's been performing and sparring, it's the old Sage back times 10. He's faster, stronger, more experienced. He's more well-rounded now. But I agree with you. When you get knocked out as badly as Sage did, there's always going to be question marks. When you come back in, fans are going to be asking, does he have what it takes? Does he have the killer instinct? Or is he going to be gun shy? Or maybe he's used this adversity to literally become the very best version he's ever been. So there's a lot of questions, but I'm hoping for a big comeback story. Whether he wins or not against Ahmed Mushtaba, It's a story for the ages, and I know Americans will be rooting for him.
All right, May 5th, the event sold out in Colorado. First time one championship's coming to American soil for an event that fans can watch it on Amazon Prime. Those are the details. Look, I have to go back if I've got you here, though. I would be irresponsible to not go back to the very first thing we talked about. You did say, whether it was a slip of tongue or not, that you think some news is coming out soon on Francis. Do you care to elaborate on that?
I like Francis, he's a good guy, but I genuinely don't know where he's going to end up. I can confirm that we are in discussions, but all I meant to say was, from my understanding, and I know that we're also at the very tail end of our process with him, he has a bunch of offers. Let's see what happens. We have to submit our we haven't submitted our final offer yet, so that's where we're at. We've been in discussions for the last few months, and we've given an offer, a couple offers, I believe, and we have not, and our final one we are putting together.
And if somebody like Francis was to come into the fold at one championship, would he move right in? And I know these are hypotheticals, but please, my final one, would he move right into a championship fight?
Yeah, possibly. I think, well, first we have a unification bout between our interim world title holder and our current title holder. Anatoly is 12-0, I believe, and 80% finish rate. And Arjun is 11-1. So these are two heavyweights who know how to bang, move very, very fast, and are complete. Great wrestlers, great strikers. So, Francis, if Francis comes into the one heavyweight division, he's gonna have his hands full. I mean, you have up and coming superstars like Buchecha, the greatest grappler of all time. I think he's now 5-0 or 6-0 with all finishes, and he's hungry for the world title as well. We have a very, very stacked heavyweight division, and if Francis does join, he's gonna have his hands full no matter what.
Yeah, he absolutely would. Anatoly actually did an interview and was speaking about Francis. He's welcome. He hopes that you sign him, and frankly, I do too. Chatri, I appreciate your time, man. Good luck with the event on May 5th.
Thank you, Chael. Take care, buddy.